down on the corner of Mill and first down Mill Avenue.
Right in here,
Alex, were those horseshoe pits included or just inadvertently omitted?
I think you're right here, maybe, that's what we dug out.
If they're not showing up on the concept, we have included that in the preliminary opinion of cost. So we are aware that that will be an item to be added, to the park as part of this development fund. So we will be sure to add that.
They're item 40 right there on
It's
the.
included in the opinion of cost.
Okay, so the numbered items may not be listed on the drawing, then I understand. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions from the council on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve from Councilwoman Beecher. Do I have a second? Second from Councilman Albright. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Which one did you approve?
The one that's in the packet. Right here.
That's what I'm asking, which one?
The only one in the packet.
There was nothing in the packet. I told you that.
So we will move on, or we'll move back to item 6. Mayor will recess the regular city council meeting for a public hearing at 5:30 p.m. on the following topics. Item 1, Councilman Flanders, public hearing discussion only. Approval of second reading or ordinance 742, Bill 2021-05, amending Title 2, Chapter 3, Section 1 and 2, entitled Tree Board of the City Code of the City of Ely, specifically changing the number of members of the board from 9 to 5 and setting forth the term of appointments. We'll take comments from the public or the board, and or the board.
Comment from me is the fact that having 9 members on the board is very difficult to get a quorum to act. And also, if we pass the ordinance and whatnot, at the end of the year, we'll make new terms up for whoever wants to remain on the board with 5 members and stagger them so that we have continuation, not all of them terminate at once.
Okay. Any other discussion items or comments? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and move on to item 7, discussion for possible action, items pertaining to the public hearing. Item 1, Councilman Flanders, discussion for possible action, approval of second reading of ordinance 742, Bill 2021-05, amending Title 2, Chapter 3, Section 1 and 2, entitled Tree Board of the City Code of the City of Ely, specifically changing the number of members of the board from 9 to 5 and setting forth the term of appointments. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I will so move.
You're so moved. Motion from Councilman Flanders. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Councilman Beecher. Any discussion on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move, I think we're back down to item 4 under senior business. Councilman Spear, Councilman Allworth, discussion only, update on Porter Group efforts on behalf of the city of Ely.
Read on. Okay. Porter Group update. This past Tuesday, Mayor Robertson, State Engineer Alberg, via the phone, Councilman Spear, myself, along with Cameron and General Robert Herbert from the Porter Group, met via Zoom to give a presentation to the staff members of Senator Cortez Masto on the following 3 projects requested by the city under the EPA STAG wastewater infrastructure grant. City of Ely downtown upgrade in the amount of $26 million. City Central Ely sewer upgrade in the amount of $3.3 million, but the total estimated is to be $90 million. The Ely Lower East Water Main upgrade in the amount of $3.1 million, of the total estimated to be $8.1 million. Mayor Robertson gave a brief overview of each project, followed by Engineer Alberg detailing the need of each project. Councilman Spear commented on the fact that the larger storm drain would allow roughly 95% of the residents in Central Ely to be removed from the historical flood zone deemed by FEMA. I commented on the fact that the city has imposed a capital improvement surcharge on the users of city water and sewer to help offset some costs. It was a consensus there was a need to have better water supply in an area of historical railroad property for fire suppression. City members were questioning if the Ely downtown project could be phased because $26 million was a large amount of money being requested. Mayor Robertson replied that even the $26 million would not be enough to complete this project. The city is hoping the state will come up with the remaining amount to see this project to completion. In the end, the city group was asked to rank the projects. The mayor ranked downtown upgrade as number 1. Engineer Holmberg stated that the downtown project would not be funded to place the central Ely upgrade as the number 1 choice due to the fact that many parts of the sewer in central Ely date back to the year 1914. And then another side note, General Robert Herbert called me and he just wanted to, he'd sent an email out came from the Lieutenant Governor's office about the framework. It is dealing with additional money for infrastructure. And the general wanted, the Lieutenant Governor will be in town over July 3rd, and he strongly recommends some of our council, the mayor, meet with her and really push hard for this, because we're finding out, and I think it's no joke, the big cities are getting the money. And he says, you know, the Lieutenant Governor has been real supportive in the talks with the general and the mayor, but we need to push, because, for example, just last week, $40 million project announced in Las Vegas again, you know, for infrastructure highway. You know, so he just wanted to stress that out. You know, there's $2.9 billion for the state of Nevada receiving from the American Rescue Plan to help address some of this, and roads and bridges, $110 billion. There's a lot of money there, but I don't know how we're ever going to get anything in these small towns. The big towns, we're cleaning up. We're not getting nothing. So he just wanted to make sure if somebody's around on July 3rd to corral the Lieutenant Governor and chat with her. That's all I have. Ed, want to add anything?
Well, you said it. Prior thing, I think that one of the things that impressed me is that this, even our conference call with Pastor Lopez, I felt a lot more comfortable with the way her office people, her employees asked the questions. They sounded interested, and you know, I really
There was a lot of them too.
yeah,
Usually we get one or
it
two.
was not just you know, listen to us, make our spiel like the last one we had. They were interesting questions. They knew a lot of the research, a lot of the areas that we needed to have help in. I left that meeting. I think I even told Clerk Lee afterwards that you know, we left the first one after we had our meeting with the congressman. And, well, I just thought we didn't have much of a chance. But after leaving this meeting, I stopped. Well, I think not only we have a heck of a good chance of getting something. I think they're going to do everything they can to get it. One of them, I suspect, is going to be Central Lily if possible. Although, you know, it was tough for them to sit through. But anyway, one other thought I've had on that is that you guys, without having that Porter group working for us, there is no way we even know it was out there. I mean, there's no way for us to follow that. It's virtually impossible. They're working on all different angles from us. You know, they're going to be throwing up stuff at the wall sooner or later. It's going to stick, and I think the group is going to make that stick. So that's.
Thank you for the thorough report. Are there any questions for Councilman Allworth or Councilman Spear? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 5, Councilman Allworth, discussion of possible action, approval of monthly balance sheets for general fund, street fund, and enterprise funds.
Once again, the monthly balance sheets are out there. I have no questions or comments, which is usual.
Okay. Any questions for Councilman Allworth or the treasurer? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
Motion from Councilman Allworth, go ahead, have a second.
I'll second.
Second from Councilman Spear. Any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Item 6, Council Member City Clerk Lee, LP Insurance Services Principal Tina Perchetti, NP AIP Executive Director Lynn Carlson, discussion for possible action, acceptance of renewal proposal from the Nevada Public Agency Insurance Pool, and approval for payment in the amount of $202,616.61 from fiscal year 2021 to 2022 funds to be paid in equal share from each of the covered funds.
Wayne Carlson is present using.
Okay. here. Are there any questions for Mr. Carlson or city staff?
I'd like to disclose that my daughter is Tina Petretti, so I'll be abstaining from this action.
I inquired with the city treasurer what she budgeted for the increase, and she budgeted, like she does in past years, and their increase, if I'm not mistaken, was 1.2% increase, you know? So I think it's a heck of a good deal. They provide good service for us for many, many years.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve from Councilwoman Beecher. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Councilman Carson. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
One abstention. Motion passes 4 with 1 abstention. Let's see, item 7 has been removed. Item 8, council member, city fire chief Stork, discussion for possible action, approval of grant transportation agreement between Reach Air Medical Services LLC and the city of Ely Fire Department. Are there any questions on this item for our fire chief?
Please get ready.
Yeah, I talked with Chief Stork. I just wanted to get a little more clarification. First of all, we have Reach Medical Air Service, and we also have MedX. My first question is, we can offer this to the other agency too, that's just something that's just fair play. So what I understand in the preliminary statement B, transfer between medical facilities and airports or health pads. So they would do that for us, which is, if we can't transfer from the hospital to the airport, or if we have to say drive somebody, have a patient drove there, they could take that if we couldn't do it. Right, Chris?
Right, it's a ground transportation agreement, so like Shane went through all of this, and also Tom Liebman with Reach is on, if you got any technical questions for him. But basically what it is we provide that service, like doing a life flight, we take somebody from the hospital to the airport. We're providing the service to that patient, but we're also providing that service to Reach. So as a payer of last resort also in this, so say the patient we transport is in a car wreck from out of the area, they have no insurance, they have nothing, they don't pay, we've exhausted all our avenues. Reach will pay the percentage that's on that final page, so we're not just out the call altogether, because we are providing that service for them also, transporting their crew. And also it has a thing in there, so should we get to the point of where we're doing long distance ground transportation to say they have a critical patient and the weather's bad, they can't fly, and we were to transport them, then we have a rate that we'd reimburse them, and everything else would be for us. We would just reimburse them for their crew.
Chief Stork, what is the difference between having this agreement and what's happening currently?
So currently what happens if we transport a patient and they have no insurance or no nothing, it's just done for free.
So it's not about it's not about them transporting for us, it's about us transporting.
Transporting them.
Okay, that's what.
And it don't lock it, and it's not like we're still transporting MedX crew also. Like Jim said, it'd probably be a good idea to try and see about getting a similar type of agreement with them also. Whether or not they want to enter into one, that's a different story. So we'll have to look at trying to approach that or whatever. But also, like I said, the representative from Reach is on Zoom if you have any more technical questions that I can't answer.
My one correction that I discussed with the attorney was just the signature sheet, but
Right.
I think everything looked okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue of having you be the signer. You should be the one signing contract for the city anyway, not me. So I don't think that's a deal breaker or an issue probably.
Are there any other questions for the?
No, I'd like to renew every year, day after this one, or cancel them. If we can terminate this, and renew it. I like that idea. Every year we go back and meet with them.
Yeah.
So this is, actually, I was to say or something, we term 1 year each, a new term the day after the expiration of the current term. Which, if we have no problems, you just make it go forward. I mean, that's a good idea. And
It's nothing that's going to cost us any revenue. It's something that can actually generate us a little more revenue.
Okay,
So.
I like that.
If there are no more questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion to approve from Councilwoman Beecher. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's a tie for those buzz. It's a tie. Second from Councilman Carson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried, so ordered. We'll move on to item 9, council member, city attorney Manrelli. Discussion for possible action, approval of abatement action to include the removal of junk abandoned vehicles on private property located at 1205 Avenue B, Ewing, Nevada, APN 002-029-15.
Can I speak?
Please.
Okay, most of you guys know me, Mr. Hermanson. I own that property, it's a rental property. The man that's renting it is a mechanic. Half of those cars he is actively working on, and in that capacity for other people. One was for me, personally, so I knew that's what he was doing. And let me say, I do agree with you guys wanting this stuff cleaned up and stuff. But when I got the first notice, it said excessive vehicles. We need clarification on that. What is determined, excuse me, excessive vehicles? Okay, last time I checked the state statute, it said you could have 2 in your car, or 2 cars in your yard for restoration purposes. I don't know if that's changed, that's been several years ago. Is that in effect here, or is that gone by the wayside with these ordinances?
The city ordinances are what are applicable.
Okay.
I was trying to pull it up, the internet's not working to read you the exact language, but you'll need to look at the city ordinances to ensure that you're in compliance.
Okay, so I take it that without looking it up, that means no cars in the yard?
There's exceptions, if you qualify under the exceptions, so I'm not gonna do a legal analysis with
Okay,
you.
yeah, that,
We
I'm okay
could-
with that.
Yeah, you could look at it and see if you qualify under those exceptions.
Okay.
I guess the question too, Brett, is does this man have a business license and a home occupation to be doing this?
No, he works for Precision in that capacity, and he does it for friends. He's not charging for it.
Sure.
It's not charging me for it, so. I've since moved mine. Mine was there, and it was currently licensed and insured, but the registration sticker wasn't on it because it's been down there under repair, but I have moved it. And he promised me, no, I'll be gone tonight anyway. So if they're not, I'll make darn sure they're gone by the end of the weekend, if you guys can give us that leniency. If not, it's not my cars, I don't care. And the thing here I received said 7 cars are to be removed. That's not an accurate statement, so does that make it any difference or anything?
I did drive down there and I didn't count 7.
And there's not 7 there,
Okay.
so.
We
But,
have that on a different item.
That's on the 1205.
oh, sorry, but, so do you have a letter that says
Yes.
7 vehicles need to be removed?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm,
Including the removal of 7 unused vehicles, and that's another thing. What's determined unused? Is it
That's
determined by-
fine, as I understand in the code as well.
Is that,
What was that?
Unused vehicles, they're talking about registration. Do they have aired up tires, broken windows?
Yeah, there's a list of things for a car to be able to be placed on the property, and so just as the mayor indicated, so you need to look at the ordinance and match
okay,
that.
those are all online? I've never looked them up.
Yeah, they're online.
Okay.
So the options available to council tonight are grant more time?
Yes.
Or proceed with the city's abatement? Okay.
well, it sounds like he's got a plan to move them all out anyway, so.
He promised me they'd be gone before this time tonight, but I go by here and there.
I would move to extend for 2 weeks, for the resident to get those moved out.
That's more than enough. Like I said, I'll personally move them if they're not moved by this weekend, so
Okay.
I have that ability, so.
So we have a motion from Councilwoman Beecher for an extension on this for 2 weeks. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Councilman Carson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Brett.
That answer your question?
Yes.
Item 10, council member, city attorney Manuel, discussion for possible action, approval of abatement action to include the removal of weeds and debris on private property located at 1145 Avenue E in Ely, Nevada, APN 002-062-14.
Dave Robertson?
Yes.
Could open the next item also because they're both owned by the same person and I received an email on these items.
Sure. So we'll also open item 11, council member, city attorney Manuel, discussion for possible action, approval of abatement action to include the removal of weeds, debris on private property located at 1165 Avenue E, Ely, Nevada, APN 002-062-15.
Ely City Council members and City Attorney Shane Manueli, I'm writing to you in regard to the notices of abatement on my property located at 1145 Avenue E and 1165 Avenue E, Ely, Nevada. I'm requesting a 30-day extension. The property is currently occupied by a single mother with a 1-year-old child and a full-time job. She has removed the refrigerator from the yard and has sprayed the weeds. She has assured me that she will remove the weeds and complete the cleanup of the property. There is no need for city funds to be spent to rectify the situation. By granting this request, the cleanup will be completed by the occupant of the property. Thank you for your consideration of this matter. A prompt response will be appreciated. Kim Stevenson.
So the single mother occupies both properties?
It's
He doesn't
It,
say.
it looks like, so I drove by there, it looks like on the one, the 1145, that there's cleanup being done, there's weeds that are kind of piled there, so maybe she's getting that taken care of. 1165 does not look like anything is happening there, it is a mess. So I don't know if it applies just to the first house and not the second, perhaps? Maybe I don't know.
So I'd say the extension request applies to both, and is an update as to one, as to what's happening. Without the clarification, it seems that that's just an update as to one, and then they're seeking a 30-day extension to resolve the other as well, is how I would look at it.
I move that will be.
Motion to approve the 30-day extension request for both these properties by Councilman Spear. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second from Councilwoman Beecher. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Item 12, Councilmember City Attorney Manueli, discussion for possible action, approval of abatement action to include the removal of trash and junk vehicles on private property located at 770 Avenue B, Ely, Nevada, APN 001-082-07.
Is that just a lot?
No, that lots across the street, the ones called trees and stuff, but you do that.
Is I living on the wrong side of the road?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Well, I don't think I think she's on the right side. There's an empty lot with a chain link fence and a little house right next to it.
Yeah.
And the trailer, that's the address right there.
Oh, okay, I missed it then, sorry.
You're right, nothing been done at all.
Okay, and we don't have any communication from that property owner?
No.
Okay.
Then I would move to proceed with the abatement.
A motion to proceed with the abatement from Councilwoman Beecher. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Carson. Any further discussion on this item? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion to proceed with abatement passes. Item 13, Councilmember City Attorney Manueli, discussion for possible action, approval of abatement action to include the removal of 7 unused vehicles on private property located at 1205 Avenue E in Ely, Nevada, APN 002-063-14.
I drove by there and there's 6 vehicles now in the back. Nice and neatly ordered. The 7th one is in the front of the house now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they were out, it appeared that there were vehicles still there. Have we heard from this property owner?
No.
Okay, then I would move to proceed with the abatement.
Motion to proceed with the abatement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Carson. Any further discussion?
I just have one comment.
Mm-hmm.
We have never, some of these are junk. We've got to figure out a way for these people, if they want to get rid of the junk car, how to get rid of it. This is going on for 3 months now. Nobody's taken the challenge to look this up. There's got to be a way they do it. They went up to Lyle Lyman's place years ago, clean out over 200 cars out of that place. So if these people are just gonna sit there and they say, you guys weren't enforcing, you can't enforce it, where's the law? What is the right for us to take them off there and put them in the corn patch, where we're gonna store them at? And then we just made a mess on our own property, until we figure out what we can do. There's got to be a legal way to figure this out.
Now, it was brought up during Louis Tristan's, items that scrapper comes into town. Is that scrapper only, assist commercial or?
I think they still require a title.
That's right.
Well, it was, in the discussion, it was that they would take cars without title. I don't know if that's correct, but that was stated.
I'm making that my statement on what Thomas Lawrence talked to our scrapper.
Well, because we had this problem, when we came on, there were some cars that the city previously taken, landfill. I don't know, I don't know, but
I mean, I don't know who we have to call, I don't know who we have to call, but this is never gonna get resolved, is used junk vehicles. Just take a ride out to Cross Timbers. You wanna see a bunch of yards and property with cars stacked into it? This process is working, but we have to have an out for these people that wanna get rid of them.
right.
And we tell them, well, we don't know what to do. Well, we don't know what to do. Leave them in the yard till we figure out. We'll never figure it out. Because we started this thing. Nobody can figure it out. And I'm not researching it.
The only research I put in was talking to some of our tow companies. The cost to have them do that would be quite expensive. I know they can apply for a lien after it gets to a certain amount, but there was some discussion as to who's responsible for that. If the city has them pick it up, but you know, the property owner is not responsible for the impound fee, the city would be. But Shane, is there any information you can shed on that?
And so they can apply for titles, they can seek titles of those vehicles and do the research themselves and go through the DMV and seek to obtain a title in order to do that, but that's on them.
The problem is after we've picked up that car, they have no
Responsibility there, or is it covered?
they have no, what's the word? They have no gumption to do that, because what's the point, the car's gone.
Yep.
So, okay.
I did look at, I found one, on Miguel Highway actually advertised that he does remove junk cars and takes up, and that's Ramsey out there.
He just piles them on his property though.
Yeah, he's got a mess.
That's what's happening. And then now we have two of them out there piling them up. The one that used to be the logging shop, was that,
That what used to be the white line freight,
IML.
oh, that's, I know, that's Ramsey.
that's Ramsey.
Yeah, and the other, next one's just down the street there.
Oh, you're talking the WSE.
Yeah, and they're getting a pile of them out there too, so. I knew this was gonna be popular, it looked nice to be heard of. I did talk to the scrapper up there, and they said that if we got them to them, they would scrap them, you know, they would wash them and take them. If they had talked to the owner, but he never has any extra space.
Well, I know the city of Fernley has this problem from the aspect of people will steal cars, dump them in Fernley, and then Fernley picks them up and can't seem to get rid of them out there because they don't have titles. But anyway, that in light of that on this item for the 7 used vehicles, what's the council's suggestion on that?
Move forward with abatement, I don't know how we're gonna abate it, but we need to keep going on it. I'll make a motion to abate it if we ever figure out how to abate it.
Motion from Councilman Albert to continue with abatement on this property. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Councilman Carson. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? We'll move on to item 14, Councilmember City Attorney Manuel, discussion for possible action, approval of abatement action to include the removal of accumulation of vehicles in military surplus on private property located at 1375 Avenue B, Nevada, 002-031-01. I know you all know this property.
Oh, boy.
If we relocated it all in the back. Yeah.
I don't know if that's his
It
property.
looks like an army surplus store.
Did he relocate it all the back?
Yeah,
Because
in
it
the
was
back.
all in the front yesterday.
Yeah, I drove down there on the 21st, there was one there, a Hummer in the front, and another one in the back.
We had a trailer
They're
there.
like, what do you call it, dukes and a half, and flat trailers.
Have we heard from this property owner?
parked in the back, you go behind there,